so happy that you are here today. Thank you for choosing to listen to Sessions of Mary Jane, wherever you are. We have a great guest today, and the guest is none other than Alex Bermudez. Alex, thank you for being here today.
Hello, everyone.
I like your pink sweatshirt.
Thank you. I get a lot of compliments on it.
It's very, very nice.
Yeah.
It's very bright, too.
Where does pink rank for you on, like, favorite colors?
It's starting to get, like, really high up there. Purple's my favorite for sure.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Pink is coming up on it, though. Sure.
Do you feel like your color selection has evolved with your age or different phases of your life?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So what does pink represent?
I don't really know. I mean, I feel like it represents that I'm comfortable kind of wearing whatever color I want to wear, or whatever I want to wear. Because there's a lot of men, especially, that don't really like to wear pink, but I embrace it.
Why is that a thing?
It's a really old school thought, I guess, but I'm not with it.
Yeah, I'm sure part of it kind of traces back to the whole thing where it was like blue is for boys and pink is for girls.
Right. Yeah.
And when you show what baby you have, you put the girls in pink and the boys in blue, and it's just like, I mean, there's just a lot of like binary thinking that like we just like realize we're like, well, this isn't really that practical. Although I guess a couple of years, like some years ago, they did try to like enforce the whole like I remember there's a lot of shirts that had, it was like the it was like strong men wear pink or real men wear pink, and that was like a whole big thing where they were trying to like reinforce the idea that men can wear pink.
But still, they have to make it seem manly, exactly. Masculine.
Right, yeah.
You can't just be like, pink.
Yeah.
Like, why do there have to be muscles next to it?
Yeah,
right.
Because men are men. So
well. Before we find out more about men, this is a terrible segue. We have a challenge for you.
Yes.
This evening.
Yes.
Did you know about that? Are you nervous?
I heard something about that.
Oh.
I'm not nervous, no.
Good. You shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be. It's not
because Alex, when you were recommended to us, one of the things was told to us was that you are indeed a weed expert and you work in the weed field. So your challenge is to, throughout the course of this podcast, name as many strains of marijuana as you can possibly name.
I had a feeling that was going to be the challenge.
Yeah.
Darn it! We're not original!
So we studied hard!
Yeah.
Yeah, well then kudos to you, because not only do you get points for being able to like name the items, you have the intuition points of also knowing that the challenge was coming. So
good on you.
Yeah, so good on you. So you can like throughout the entire podcast, we're just gonna continue with the conversation. But at any point, if you think of one, you can just shout it out. We'll add it to the list and then count them all up at the end. We've had people get different ranges. Everyone gets a different topic when they come on the podcast. So we've had people who've gotten over 90, and then we've had people who've gotten literally 0. So
any which way you cut it, you're a winner.
That's right, exactly. So feel free to jump in whenever you want with those, or to not jump in with those whenever you want.
Okay, sure. That's really not going to be difficult.
I love his confidence.
Yeah. Yes, because so Alex, would you mind talking about like your experience like with weed and how you kind of found your way into like working in like the marijuana field in general?
Yeah, so I mean, just like everybody else, I started smoking, just off the street, like whatever I could get my hands on. But I noticed that there was a special way that kind of THC affected me, and it wasn't really just a psychoactive type thing. It was like an emotional type thing, even a physical type thing. So I went to school for biology. It kind of helped me understand, plants in general.
Reena's also a bio major, yeah.
And, when I graduated, I knew for a fact that what I wanted to do was with cannabis. So I applied at the dispensary I'm at right now. I started as a patient care specialist, which is like a bud tender. Kind of worked my way up. So now I'm the manager, but, it didn't start there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my weed journey has been pretty long, I guess. It definitely started early in high school, I'd say. Took a break for a while, and then in college, kind of when things got real, with the workload and emotions, I guess. I found cannabis again, and it kind of helped me to, balance out my life and balance out the stress in my life. Because college is a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which college did you go to?
Coastal Carolina University.
Okay, and what did you think of that school?
It was okay. I'm not a big fan of the South. It's not as progressive as I would like where I'm living to be. But I got through school, I got my degree, I did what I had to do. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so after you graduated, like what was the process of then like finding the first dispensary maybe that you went to, or just like the culture of dispensaries in general?
So I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with cannabis.
Okay.
But there wasn't a whole lot locally.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I'm from.
Yeah.
So it was difficult to find something, but something had opened up kind of close in a dispensary, so I applied for it. The next day I got an interview, and it was, kind of just history from there.
Mm-hmm.
It happened so fast. I think I was only out of school for a month before I got the job, so I got really lucky, definitely.
Yeah.
I fell into it at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. I always have loved the term bud tender, because I'm just like, it's just like, one, it's just like, obviously like the play off like bartender is great too, because it's like, isn't that like a nice idea? The idea that you can go into a place and like a bar where they serve alcohol, you can go in there and you can just have someone who like knows what they're talking about, recommend you things that are specifically like what you want, and like and can kind of help you get the feeling you want. But also it's like, bud is your bud. Like the guy thinking you bud is your bud, and this bud is serving you bud, and you guys are just buds.
So fitting.
It's
so fitting.
Yeah.
Have you had anybody or any like customer who is dissatisfied?
Yeah, we get dissatisfied patients a lot. We do call them patients because, it is medical still at this point. But yeah, we get, sometimes there's issues with vape cartridges, and that's big in New York. So, we do get customers or patients who are upset sometimes, but I do my best to kind of...
What are your thoughts on flower versus vaping it?
Flower is superior, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work that goes into creating these vape cartridges, and I totally understand that. But like the experience that you're getting from the flower, I'd consider that the full experience. You're getting all the terpenes, all of the other cannabinoids, rather than the isolated THC and maybe CBD with the reintroduced terpenes. So I think smoking the flower actually gives like a better high, a better experience overall.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And what just puts a smile on your face, or like feedback have you gotten from somebody who's been like, oh my gosh, like, I am very thankful this is here, or that I have this resource because this helps me so much with blank, or,
Yeah, I mean, being that it is medical, we get a lot of that. Mm-hmm. So we get patients who come in who've been on opioids for years, like decades even. And they've never had any other way to get pain relief because cannabis has been illegal forever. And not everybody wants to go the illegal route, Mm. So we have a lot of patients, honestly, most of them are older. And we help them get off opioids. Sometimes it's a slow process, but, using cannabis, they can eliminate most of their medicines that are, that they're not happy with, that are making them feel worse sometimes.
Right. I'm assuming, but does marijuana help with the withdrawal process when people are trying to transition off of another drug?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually prescribed for that in New York State, so that's definitely a big reason to use it. And we see it every day, literally every day. And, it gives pain relief as well. High THC products give actually pretty good pain relief. And it feels more natural because, our bodies do have that endocannabinoid system.
Yeah. What do you think is like one of like the biggest misconceptions about marijuana that people have, either who like have maybe like smoked it only once or partaken in it once, or who haven't partaken in it at all?
A lot of people come in and they're afraid that they're going to get anxious because they're smoking. Mm. And that's not necessarily like what happens when you smoke. It is all about the strain. I know it's funny to say that. Sometimes high THC in general can cause that, but the strain is really important. Sometimes sativas can cause paranoia, anxiety. I mean, even I get anxiety still, and I smoke every single day.
Yeah.
It really just depends on your mood going into it, and the strain.
Exactly. What is your strain? What is the one best suited for you that so far that you have?
Is this number one on the list?
This will be number one.
All right. So my favorite strain of all time is Jilly Bean. It's a sativa dominant hybrid. It's got really beautiful colors. It's orange, purple, green, and it smells like mangoes. Just really fruity and tropical.
Sounds like something the Joker would have. Orange and green. Oh.
Yeah. I know. Joker doesn't strike me as a marijuana guy.
No,
he seems
he's
like
definitely cocaine.
Yeah.
He's definitely cocaine.
I
yes.
agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Wait. What? Because it popped in my head. But what villain do you feel is a weed villain? Like what comic book? Also superhero or villain, but do you feel like would be totally pothead?
Yeah.
You know what? After seeing Fat Thor, he could definitely be.
Yeah.
Only after seeing him like that.
Got you. Yeah.
Right, because before that he seemed like a frat bro, like slamming beers, like crushing them against his head, right?
Yeah. Villains. I don't know. I don't expect villains to smoke cannabis. I expect them to do like harder drugs, you know?
This makes sense.
And that's
why
why
would they
they're
still be
villains.
violent? Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Why would they not just go with the flow?
Yeah, listen, superheroes out there, if you're listening and you're trying to think of like what's the kryptonite to a villain, just pull out some marijuana, smoke them up, and then they won't be destroying your city no more, okay? It's that simple. Just do it, guys.
Oh my gosh, what if kryptonite is weed is the kryptonite of Superman? They're both green.
Well, but it's a crystal
sense.
though, so I don't know. I mean,
I'm just being high.
yeah.
Taking us back on track.
Lex Luthor is just like at a board meeting. He's like, all right, guys, what can we use to beat Superman? The one person is just like, well, we smoke him up, huh? He can't fly if he's high, huh? And they're like, get out of here, Cousin Greg. Oh, sorry, you're getting us back on track. Go ahead.
Strains, no strains. Yeah,
it's a jelly bean, yes, right.
Jelly bean.
Sounds like a delight.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. Was there anything else you want to add on jelly bean? Jelly bean, sorry.
I recommend it honestly to anybody. We were talking about the anxiety thing before. So it's a sativa dominant hybrid. Being that it's not a pure sativa, it really shouldn't give much anxiety, if any at all.
Right.
So it's a really user-friendly strain, and it usually comes in at lower percentages of THC, which is cool because it's really high in terpenes. It's going to really give you that full entourage effect.
Ooh, very nice. All right, cool. Good suggestion. Yeah. Are there any specific strains that you, on the opposite side of the spectrum, that you've tried and you're like, this is not the strain for me? And there's like something, whatever it is about it, just doesn't jive with you.
Yeah. It was really one time it happened. There was a strain called Chocolope. I had gotten it in DC. It was the first time I ever tried it. It's supposed to have like a chocolatey flavor profile to it.
Yeah.
And I've had chocolatey strains before. I'm not usually a fan of them. So I figured I'd try one more time. And for whatever reason, this was like my least favorite strain ever. I actually didn't smoke the rest of that eighth.
Yeah.
Same.
That's fair. Yeah. No, because it's like if you already like realize that this is not the one for you, there's no reason to keep on pushing it through. Yeah. Have you done have you traveled and tried weed in like different areas?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I try that. Anywhere I travel, weed has to be legal. I can't go if weed is not legal.
Yeah.
I need to be able to go into a shop and pick what I want to get. And so yeah, I definitely travel around for it. I have to go to Massachusetts to kind of get a bigger selection. New York is very limited on kind of what we're offering, but the program's picking up really quickly. We did just put out whole flower and our live cartridges, so things are picking up for sure. But
how much time do you think it'll take?
I think within the next year, things are going to be like really big because we're expecting more strains of flower as well right now, and flower is really where the game is. Concentrates come after that, and then edibles, but I think within the next year, things are going to change a lot. But yeah, I mean, I travel a lot for cannabis specifically. Massachusetts is a big spot. They have a lot of recreational dispensaries. And they actually sell products by my company. We have a presence in Massachusetts, Ohio, and some other states as well. But I don't know if I mentioned it, it's The Botanist. My location specifically is in Middletown. Just figured I'd plug that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I use products by The Botanist in Massachusetts as well. Extremely high quality. And as soon as we put out our own flower, I think it's going to be pretty big. But I've been to Vegas multiple times. I always get cannabis from there.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of my favorite states with their laws and stuff.
How come? Like, which laws?
They accept us as medical patients,
Okay.
even though we're out of state. So you don't pay much in taxes, and you get big discounts.
Cool.
So
Nice.
yeah, that's pretty cool. California. Obviously, everyone's been to California for the weed.
Mm-hmm.
That's big into the weed. Colorado is on my list. I definitely have to go there. I want to get up to Maine because I think they just opened up their recreational program. I've been to a lot of other states with their programs as well. But Nevada's one of my favorites.
Cool.
Big time. And New York's got a lot of potential. I mean, our laws are very progressive, a lot more so than the other states. So once things kind of get rolling, I think New York's going to be an awesome place for cannabis.
Cool, yeah. Do you notice like similar like trends in the kinds of like either like the strains or just like the kinds of weed that you get in like a different geographical location?
Yeah, usually if I get the same strain, dispensaries and growers are pretty good about that. Like they keep the strains true to like what their flavor profiles are supposed to be. So, I mean, to me, it seems like I'm getting the strain that I'm expecting for the most part. And yeah, I mean, in places where I've had the same strain in both places, they've been very similar. So I think dispensaries are doing a good job with keeping genetics true to their name.
Cool, very, very cool.
If you could cultivate your own strain, what would be in it and what would it be called?
I think about this every day.
Funny you should ask.
And I don't have an answer, truly.
Darn it, I thought you were going to whip out a PowerPoint.
I did get into growing, on an amateur level for sure. And, I grew something and I named it Shiva's fruit. That it's not official, I didn't breed anything to get there, but Shiva is kind of known to be the Indian god of cannabis, and it had a fruity flavor to it, so it made sense.
It's funny.
Wow, it's so
because the guest who from the previous episode to this one, she was sharing her experience of taking mushrooms, and she said at one point she saw herself as Shiva, and she was she didn't know the name at first. We had to look it up, but
we didn't know what she was referring to. That's so funny that you both just mentioned that.
Yeah, what a great goddess that is, huh? What a great thing to be goddess of,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of want to get Shiva tattooed on myself. That's how kind of highly I hold cannabis, honestly.
Yeah.
Definitely a cool god.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned before that you when you first tried it, you first started using it, that you had this like an emotional reaction to it. Can you talk more about that, and what it feels like to have that kind of connection when you use THC?
Yeah. So, I mean, I struggle with depression. I feel like a lot of people in our generation do. It just seems like life is kind of shitty sometimes. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I struggled with it a lot in college. And, I sought help. I started going to therapy. And they love prescribing antidepressants. They're really quick to do it. And the side effects for me were just not worth it. And sometimes it didn't even help with the depression part of it. So I knew that when I smoked, I felt better. I didn't want it to be like a coping mechanism, but there's a science to why it works that way. Like, our bodies are meant to be used with cannabis. And as I learned that, that's kind of when I realized, this is definitely the industry I want to be in. So, and I see how it helps people in the same way, every day. A lot of people come in for a lot of emotional issues. Like, anxiety's big. People say cannabis causes it, but like I said, the right strain will really help with anxiety big time. Depression, it's really good for depression. Jilly bean, like I mentioned earlier, it's very uplifting without that anxiety feeling. So it's going to crush your depression, There's really a science to it, honestly. And that's where I got into it. Like, I saw how it helped me, and every day I see how it helps other people.
I think that's the science part of it. I think especially is important to highlight, because I do I think in certain ways weed was kind of I mean, we all know the stigma that was attached to weed, and is still in a lot of ways attached to weed, where it's I think people hit away.
Reminder, people, take another hit and also drink some water. Stay hydrated. Because
we're very pro hydration here. We're very pro drinking that agua and smoking that marijuana.
Yes.
What was I saying?
You were saying about the stigma for weed, the negative connotations, how a bunch of people you'd see in TV or movies also when they would be like, oh, weed makes you lazy.
Yeah,
your weed is like you're a delinquent if you're a pothead.
Yeah.
You're instead of it being like, oh no, it's actually like you're saying the science to help to be able to back up because also people won't listen unless you give them the data. You give them factual information. This is scientific backup where you could be like, hey, no, this is not people just talking out of their butt. Like it works. It's productive. It helps people be productive and a functional human being in this weird thing we call life.
Yeah.
Also for things that people can't control because depression's a disease. It's literally a brain disease. You don't need a reason to be depressed. Sometimes it's that when people suffer different periods of depression, you just slip into it. It just happens.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be nice for it to not happen? For people to just be able to get up in the morning and not think those thoughts, like, come on.
Yeah, I think for people who don't go through depression, I think it's like hard to understand what it's like, and that's like the problem with most things. It's like people act a certain way when they don't understand things sometimes, and so it's just like it's like good to like remember that there are experiences that are like outside of like the experiences that you like directly have if you don't feel that way, So
can I ask, were you hesitant at first to go to therapy?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know what to expect, but I found it really helpful. Definitely talking about your feelings is helpful. Yeah. And I feel like as long as you have the right therapist, you're in a place where you're not being judged, and they can kind of tell you like ways that you can deal with what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for therapy. Yeah, I'm still in therapy.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, no, asking also just for personal stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good. No, it's good to like talk to somebody about because like it is like I do think of it as just like, oh well, what if it's not the right therapist? It is trial and error. Like what if this thing doesn't work? What if what I'm imagining how great it will be and like how accomplished I'll be like doesn't match up to reality? And it's like you gotta put the work in, like blah 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 blah. All these conversations you have in your head. But also with like depression, was there was it hard with family or friends, people who like did not understand it, and you just I don't know, like feeling like on an island of your own because there are people who couldn't relate to that? Yeah,
definitely. Family doesn't always get it. My parents weren't super with it at first, but they're starting to become more comfortable with the idea. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like the older generation was taught to feel a certain way about therapy and going to therapy. But my parents, they kind of steered away from that because they see that it does benefit me big time. So
that's very important.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I've got a brother and a sister. My sister, she went to the same high school as us. You might have probably know her.
Wait, what was her name?
Veronica.
Oh yeah, I think so. We went to.
Is this in Warwick, New York?
No. Okay, so Alex, I'm so glad you're here because it's kind of like a running lie throughout the course of this podcast because Jordan, who's not here but is our other partner in Late Night Hump, he is from Warwick, and he likes to say he's poisoning Reena's mind.
Is one of the boroughs of Warwick.
That is the lie. That is the propaganda that is spewed in this house. Alex, you are from Greenwood Lake. Can you please speak to these lies?
It doesn't matter.
He's our guest. Be polite. Go ahead, Alex. I'm sorry about that.
I like to think that we're a separate entity for sure.
Yeah, you'd like to think.
It's true that we are a village of Warwick. I have to say that.
Woo!
It's a lot different. It doesn't feel like we are from Warwick,
exactly.
So we're not.
Sure, yeah, no, because they'll just give you a different name, call it Greenwood Lake, and they'll be like, oh, what do we call this village of Warwick? Well, it's next to a lake, and, there's wood, and it's green, call it Greenwood.
You're from Mahwah!
We all live in places that were originally Native American reservations.
Yes,
I think so. Yeah. I think is the thing here.
Yeah. So, but were you born and raised in Greenwood Lake?
I was born in the Bronx.
Ah, okay, cool.
That's why I was curious. I was like, what part of New York? Because I know you get... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was born in the Bronx, but I moved to Greenwood Lake. I was 4. So,
Oh, okay.
I spent a lot of my
I see.
youth in the Bronx, but I lived in Greenwood Lake for a long time.
All your developing years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you prefer either place to be when you were growing up?
I like Greenwood Lake. I like not the slower pace, but I'm not really into cities. I don't like being that close to people. Yeah, that's my thing. Like, I like to kind of have, like, my privacy, and I still live with my parents. They're in a house, but I feel like, you know, I'm not close to any neighbors. You know, I don't hear what's going on the wall over, you know, stuff like that.
Yes.
So I prefer kind of, like, Greenwood Lake environment for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's just like it's like nice. You know, I was talking to this lady that I met just like randomly when I was walking through town today. I'm like, I think like it's always nice to always have the option of getting quiet. You know, it's nice to live in a place where it's like I think sometimes it's like if you want to go somewhere busy, it's like good to have the option too. But it's like always nice that like if you need peace and you need to like not be around anyone, you have the option of doing that when you live in a place like Greenwood Lake.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, your body just gets used to sleeping with very little noise.
Yeah,
you know, like I went in if I was sleeping in New York City and there was like constantly chatter, a honking horn, like music, a bustling, like there's always something. It's
I need to start naming some strains for you guys.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to interrupt. No, this is
Purple Kush, Girl Scout cookies, Super Silver Haze, Super Lemon Haze. We can take a break for now.
Alex is like, your poor fingers. I'm going to no, that's good. Oh, wow. What was I going to say?
Purple Punch.
Purple Punch. When someone comes into the dispensary, like, do you have like a certain like process of like how you like help them kind of figure out what the strain is for them or anything like that?
Is there like a pot quiz they need to take?
It's different for everyone. We try to give everyone a really personal experience. But it depends on their prior experience also. But New York, it wasn't super big on strains for a while. Like, we just kind of recently started pushing out like more strains. It's been really about like sativa, indica hybrid, and then like ratios of THC to CBD. Rather than like kind of focusing on strains. Now that's going to kind of become the norm, I think, now that we have flower and strain-specific vapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But patients, they like to tell us what strains they've tried and what they've liked, and we try to give them something similar, like with what we believe would be similar effects. But some people aren't there to get high, you know. Some people are really there to get medicinal relief, and they'll use higher CBD products so they don't feel that high at all, but they're getting pain relief from the THC. Or they'll use like an equal ratio of THC to CBD. That way they really, you know, they might feel a little something in terms of psychoactive effect, but they're really going to kill their pain, help their mood with the CBD, and kind of, you know, relieve inflammation as well. It really just depends what they're looking for. Like if they're looking to, you know, get high or if they're looking to medicate. It really just depends.
Yeah.
What's the work culture like working in a dispensary from your experiences?
I mean, we talk about weed all day long.
Yeah.
We always talk about new strains that we've tried, new things like that. It's very weed focused. You know, we're normal people too. We talk about, you know, what's going on in everyday life, but it's a lot of weed talk. You know, we don't get sick of talking about weed, for sure.
Right. I guess like you go into that field because you care about it, and like that's a cool thing because I think there's like so many times where people get jobs that they have zero to negative passion about what they're doing. They're just like, this is just a job. I'm just doing this. But it's like if you're in that field, it's like you probably are like very passionate about it in some way. Would you agree with that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of people doing that in a CVS. I tried this prescription the other day. Like, don't take these kind of pills. You gotta take these ones are better for that. Like nobody's passionately talking about like.
That's an interesting concept.
This is fun, CVS. There's some blueberry Benadryl over there.
CVS! You just put an exclamation point next to CVS. Yes, because that was CVS!
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a a Nickelodeon sketch show. Why am I thinking like Amanda's show and like Keenan and Kel and like as if they're going to. Sorry, that's just so funny in my head.
They were definitely. I can definitely see Keenan. Maybe not Keenan. Kel. I can see Kel being a pothead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Totally. Well, also difference if we're talking like CVS and you're talking about like even prescription drugs and these pills or whatever, and for patients, even if they're medicinally taking marijuana, there is still, I feel, more of an open communication and sharing of like, this is the strain I'm taking or what works for you or blah, blah, blah. People having more of a dialogue with it. No, like, nobody's talking about the pills they're taking. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only glimpse into that is, if you see somebody's medicine cabinet or sneak in to be like, oh, what are they really taking? For really difficult stuff and stuff they're going through. I feel like it's quite magical that marijuana is also opening the doors to like, no, let's talk about what are your issues? What is if you're having something mentally, if you're suffering from something physically, instead of with pills, everyone would keep it behind closed doors. Hush, hush, don't talk about this. You know, it's a form of weakness or whatever. When it's just like, you're just human. Yeah. You're suffering from things. Everybody's suffering from things, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Do you see marijuana? Does marijuana like ever get distributed in places like CVS? And like, do you think like will there be more of that? And also, like, is that a good thing? Sorry, that's like 3 questions in one.
If you mean if it becomes mainstream?
Yeah.
I mean, like by.
Like, what's the relationship between like marijuana and like regular pharmacies, like conglomerate pharmacies?
I think that. Okay, so I'm glad you asked this question. I'm really passionate about that.
Cool.
I don't think that you should be able to buy cannabis anywhere but a dispensary.
Agreed.
Like, I'm not big on the idea that Walmart might sell it one day.
That's weird.
Or that you might be able to buy it at the gas
Wait,
station.
I'm sorry, that's in the talks? What do you mean? Oh, you're just saying.
I'm just saying, you know, people talk about that kind of stuff all the time.
True.
You know, when are you going to be able to go to the convenience store and buy a joint or buy a pack of joints? Like,
or like a drive-through?
I think with just like how alienated people have made cannabis over all this time, like, I don't think it's fair for them to jump on it once it's legal. Like, there's an industry in place to kind of deal with that. And for anybody else to kind of jump in on that, it seems very hypocritical. I'm against that. I'm against, like, you know, honestly, big weed. You know, I do work for a corporation, but corporations, they are needed for that kind of stuff. I'm talking about Walmart level or Amazon level. I think that if Amazon gets involved in cannabis, that's kind of...
The drone's just going to bring you your weed to your doorstep.
I'm a little uncomfortable with that, but we'll see what the future holds, you know? Maybe they'll find like a really ethical and positive way to go about it if they do kind of decide to go that route. But I think that dispensaries should be the only places that you could get.
Because there's certainly quality control you get from that too, right? You know,
exactly.
and that's a very important part of like, you know, even going to the point of like if someone like thinks that they're going to be anxious from weed, it's like it's the responsibility of people who work in dispensaries to make sure that like that doesn't happen. Or you can like just give them really what's the best thing for them as a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, most people do start smoking weed on the street. I understand that, and you know, most of the time, you're just kind of getting whatever they've got. You know, there are people that have different things. Absolutely, like different strains. I'm just skeptical about that. You know, I like having that lab testing there. I like knowing that there's not like a significant amount of microbes or mold in what I'm smoking that's going to hurt me, you know? Honestly, when you buy anywhere else, it's kind of blind.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Especially like going back to the point of like, you know, most people trying it by like just like smoking on the street. It's like, I remember there's actually a guy who came up to me once and he's like, hey, do you want to sell this skunk weed? And that's like a whole big thing too, right? It's actually, so what is the reason for like skunky weed? Or I guess just like, is it a mold thing? Or
No, skunky weed, I mean, back in the day, like terpenes they were there in the plants, but they weren't as diverse as they are right now. Like there's a lot of interbreeding going on between the strains right now. Like back kind of when... I don't know. I'd say that was a big term in the 60s and 70s, I'd say. I mean, there was just weed that didn't really smell like much at all. It kind of just smelled like a plant. And then there was skunk weed. weed that had a really pungent nose to it that you smelled once you opened the bag up. That's kind of what they meant by it. It's not mold. Those are terpenes in there for sure. I'd say it's probably a less diverse profile than what you find right now, like I said. But myrcene is big for the skunk smell. It's an earthy, skunky smell, definitely. But yeah, skunk weed, it's good weed. I mean, even today, like when you buy, even from the dispensary, when you buy weed and it smells skunky, you're like, oh, this is good shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I have like a very bad sense of smell, and like one of the things I can always smell is weed. It's like I can like someone could be cooking in the kitchen, I'll have no idea. Like no matter how like it's just like very specific things. But for some reason, like if I'm walking around and all of a sudden like that scent hits the air, it's like the moment where it's like you can tell it's somewhere, and then I'm like I feel like all of a sudden like whatever strength my nose has been saving up is all reserved for that one thing.
Your weed senses are tingling.
Exactly, yeah. Maybe it's an evolution of man thing. I don't know. I've evolved to be a person who is seeking it. I'm a hunter-gatherer for weed, I guess, but yeah.
Random question. What is your favorite weed movie?
Pineapple Express, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a classic movie.
Yeah.
There's so many scenes that like I can picture in my head right now. Like, and I've just watched that with Sony and my friends while we've been stoned. It's just your classic stoner movie, definitely.
Good pick. It's a good pick.
Yeah. What are the things that you like to do when you get stoned? Like specific activities or whatever.
I'm big into gaming. I just got a PS5.
Ooh.
And I didn't pay a scalper for it, so that's big. So yeah, I mean, I feel bad. I have a Series X as well. I feel bad for my Xbox because like I've always been big into Xbox. But the PS5 is really cool.
Yeah. What's the best thing about it for others?
What makes it so
It just feels really futuristic. Like with the Xbox, it feels exactly like the other one. It's just in 4K.
Yeah.
There aren't even exclusive games for the Series X yet.
Oh, okay.
And then with PS5, like the whole interface is different. It's also in 4K, and then you've got those games that you couldn't play on PS4. Like everything feels brand new.
Wait, what games are you playing right now?
I started Deathloop a little while ago. I'm close to finishing that. Returnal is great. I'm really enjoying Returnal. Ratchet and Clank is fun.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I guess that's it for PS5. And then Forza came out today. I didn't get to play it yet because I got out of work and then I came here.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sacrificing the video game time to be here on session.
Can't stop thinking about Forza.
Yeah. A video game will do that though, right? Like if like the right video game, like it's hard to focus on other things because all you're thinking about is going back and playing again, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I was that way when Sims came out.
Yeah.
For computer games, because I like do or played on like old fashioned. I mean, you can see right now we have a Nintendo 64, and we just have a GameCube. That's where I am now. But my family members have had like PS2, Xbox, and everything. What is like an classic older like video game that you like would always play?
I revisited this recently on the PlayStation, but Jak and Daxter, the whole series. Specifically, Jak 2, that's my favorite one. But yeah, I get a lot of nostalgia playing that. I think I played it for the first time when I was like 8, so yeah, that was a long time ago.
What is it about those games specifically that you love?
They just have such good mechanics, and like, it's one of the earliest games I can remember. Like, it's one of those games that really stood out to me. I love platformers, and I remember it being, like, really challenging. And there's just a lot of personality to it. Like, the characters, they grow on you. And just over the years of all the video games I've played, like, I still remember these characters. I still remember, like, the things that they've said. And playing it again and seeing it again is really nice.
Yeah. That's like Kingdom Hearts. The characters like that for me if you're talking. Also, I just love how the graphics looked back then. I like when things weren't totally pristine and like things it just had an edge to it, or it just looked completely different, and you're just like, oh yeah. You played on a much smaller screen too.
It is very interesting to see the characters that have stood the test of time. I mean, like characters like Mario, obviously, like a big one, where it's like you've seen Mario in so many forms. You've seen him as a bit character, and then now you see him as like a. I'm wondering the day that you get a photo realistic version of Mario and what that looks like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh,
like today, his like as him old.
Yeah. I want like the Logan of Mario movies where he's like a broken down plumber. He was like, he's got to get to Bowser and he's like
and Luigi's.
Yeah.
How Peach looks, so she's just like, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah.
I'm just envisioning it.
Yeah. What qualities of video games do you feel are highlighted from using cannabis?
You see a lot more of the colors, and you appreciate the art a lot more. You probably hear the music a lot more too.
Yeah.
But you definitely get a more full experience. Sometimes if you're too high, you might forget how to play. This happens to me sometimes. It happened to me with Breath of the Wild. It taught you so many mechanics, and then like I stopped playing for a while and came back to it, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. That changed, and that became like my most played game probably of all time. But yeah, sometimes if you're too high and you start a game brand new, like you might not know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Happens when I watch movies. Like I gotta go back. What?
Yeah. Mortal Kombat that was a hard one for me to play when I'm high because like that game is all about combos. It's all about like knowing exactly what the combos are, and it's like. It's a good, like the Mortal Kombat games are very fun because it's like, you get that visceral joy of like, I'm just punching someone else and for some reason it feels good to watch characters do that. But it's like, if you don't know like the combos in that game, it's like, you can't do any of the fun shit. You can't throw fireballs, you can't throw spears at people's chests and pull them in, you know? It's like, then you're just like punching, you're like, well, I wish I could do the superhuman things that I was doing, so that just, yeah.
You know what I love in Grand Theft Auto where you'd have the radio station. I love in the games where they're like different things you can tap into.
Yeah.
And like listen to, and people who made the game, it's like, yeah, somebody wrote a script for that. There are voice actors who said all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
noises are very signature. Forget, like obviously like The Sims, the fact that they didn't make them talk, like there is no, it's just gibberish.
They have their own made-up language.
Yeah,
seriously.
and it's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Such a good idea.
Yeah, I had a chemistry teacher when I was in high school. His name was Mr. Roberts, and he was like my first exposure to having like an adult who like definitely partook in marijuana and definitely like encouraged the idea of like, not everything you're taught in school is correct. Like there, and it was
that's rare. That's rare.
I know. Yeah, and he was definitely at like I don't give a fuck level by the time I got to him, which is a really great time to get to a teacher like that because like there was really like and the thing is like he was a great chemistry teacher. Like he taught us like very well, and he did like fun things like at the end of the year every year he would the last lab would be to do tie dye, and so you like learn about bonding through the tie dye. So it was like very cool. But like there were also days you go in there and he'd be sitting cross-legged on the floor and you're like, oh, it's gonna be one of these kind of days. And then he would complain openly about things about like politics of being a teacher and things about the world that he just like thought were really bad.
Wow.
And where was I going with this?
I don't know, but I love it.
He probably left shortly after you because I did not.
He did. Yeah. So truth be told, he was there.
Was he let go or by his own?
So he was there the year after I was there still. Like that, and that was like his last full year of teaching. And then like at the end of the school year, everyone says, "All right, have a good summer. We'll see you next year." And he said that to everyone. And then all of a sudden, he didn't come back the following year. And people said he like ran away to Vegas and like and got married. And like there's no definitive knowledge of where Mr. Roberts is right now, but
shout out to you, Mr. Roberts. Yeah. Wherever you are, we hope you're happy.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the point I was going for, but I think just generally he was like, it was cool to have like, a teacher that was like willing to like
also talks to you on like one level. You know what I'm saying? Like not down to you like, oh, you're too small and young to understand these grown-up adult world things, when it's just like kids go through a lot of shit too, you know. Like it's not.
Yes. So and I remember what the reason why I brought it up. I'm connecting the dots. Thank you, Mary Jane. Because going to your point about the Sims with the made up language.
Gibberish, yeah.
I remember he said this thing to me that was like one of the more profound things I've ever heard, and I always remember it. It's like because he was talking. Someone was talking about like bugs and how like insects are stupid. I think someone just like kind of killed one like without even thinking about it, and they were like, "Oh, it's just a bug. It doesn't think or anything." And he's like, "Why do you think it doesn't think?" And he's like, "Oh," they're like, "Oh, because it doesn't like." it doesn't communicate with words. And he's like, a lot of people think that the more words you use, the more intelligent your language is. He's like, I would beg to differ that it actually makes you smarter if you can get things accomplished with using less words. And I was like, damn, Mr. Roberts. And I just stand up and clap, but now
so you just slow clap.
Bravo.
Bravo. But you watched The Office.
Yes.
You've seen the episode of The Office where Kevin Malone had the same idea, right?
Yes.
That didn't work out that well.
No. Although I don't know if you know this, but there's actually a running theory that Kevin Malone was like, I think he was like some kind of like secret agent or something like that, and the whole thing was there's a lot of theories with The Office. One of them is that Kevin is actually like hyper intelligent and is like an undercover agent. The other one is that there's and they've addressed this on the Office Ladies podcast, so now it's at least considered possible canon, but not really. But there's a theory that Dunder Mifflin is like a money laundering scheme, because there's like certain like references to like things in accounting going wrong and like them like not having things right, and there's like very specific things where it's like if that was what was going on, that would actually make a lot of sense, given the people that work in that office. Like Michael Scott being the boss.
That would make more sense.
Yeah. So yeah. Reena was opposed to watching The Office for a long time, and then as a birthday gift, she watched almost all of it.
I had to because Brendan asked me to for his birthday. So am I going to be not a good friend and not watch it?
Yeah.
But the thing was, I liked not knowing all these references, and everybody fucking loves The Office. I like being on the outside. I like not being in not knowing like your pish posh.
I just assume everyone likes The Office when I meet them.
Yeah.
I just assumed it about you. I was right.
Yes, you were
right. You're right.
Yeah.
I also like The Office. I don't dislike it. But I definitely just like didn't feel like finishing it. Because after like the cast was changing and everything, and then I was just like, it just lost its like, special juice for me. Like what it was in the beginning was... Which is so funny because we've talked about this before, where you like give a TV show room to breathe, and then it's just like when we talk about Parks and Rec, where like if you watch the first season, it's like so god awful. Like you have to. My brother told me to. He's like, watch this show. He's like, but start with season 2. Also, that was when Louis C.K. came in, so now very different. Yeah. But the show was like, because now if a show doesn't impress me in the first episode, I'm like, skip next. You don't make the cutting block unless someone gives you a recommendation and they're like, no, like take my word, like. It builds. You just got to give it time. Yeah. But
what's your current show, Alice? What are you watching these days?
Let me give you some strains.
That good.
He's keeping us on track.
I know. Yeah, we are trying actively. Us and Miss Mary Jane are trying to
derail him.
you, but you will not be deterred. So go and list these strains.
Yes.
Apples and bananas. Critical mango.
Wow.
Lilac diesel.
This mango's critical. This mango's in critical condition. Somebody get me a stat.
Sour Kush. Wow.
What about this essential mango? No, we need the critical mango, not the essential mango.
Reena's doing the verbal equivalent of like throwing Mario throwing bananas out of the cart when they're in Mario Kart. Now it's just like avoiding them. Just name these strains. So yeah, very good, very good. Yes.
Quattro Kush.
Oh. You can keep going. You can list as many as you want.
Yeah, I gotta get them in now because I keep forgetting.
That's normal. I don't know if you probably suspected that, but on this show, it's quite normal for people to forget about the challenge until the end at various times. So, yep.
Apocalypto. Crescendo. Fruity Pebbles.
I thought that one's good.
Yeah, Fruity Pebbles is popular at my dispensary. Jack Herrera. Super Skunk #1. And we'll come back to the strains.
Cool. Do you how much obviously like the names are one of the more interesting parts of like strains too. So like how much effect do you think that does have on like whether someone buys a certain strain or is like interested in a certain strain?
It absolutely sells the strain. Fruity Pebbles, I mean, people when they first hear that they'd laugh. But that's, like I said, it's one of the best-selling strains at my dispensary. And I think when the flower of that comes out, I mean, it's the same deal. Like when people hear Fruity Pebbles, I mean, they're expecting that.
Yes.
And, as long as it's delivering, that's good.
Yeah.
But there are strains that aren't really appropriately named. And, sometimes patients or people, any dispensary, not just mine, will go and they hear a cool sounding strain and they get it and it's nothing at all like what the name suggests.
Do you have an example?
Like what? Oh gosh, that's a tough one. So the Chocolope that I mentioned, that I hated, it did not taste like chocolate at all. It was just this earthy...
How insulting.
Not even like sweet tasting strain, and it wasn't, that's why it wasn't for me. That, Chocolope, I think its parents were... I don't even want to guess. I hated it so much that I didn't look into the lineage or anything like that.
Chocolate family, you're not worth our thoughts and our mentions.
And I keep a strain journal, of every strain I've ever tried. I did not put it in there.
Wow! But you're not going to forget it.
I'm not going to forget it.
Right, so no need. Wow, so when did you start keeping your strain journal?
I started keeping it in probably 2019, late 2019,
That's such a good idea.
until now. And I mean, I remembered some of the strains I had tried previously. I try to keep it only legitimate strains, definitely from dispensary, the official things, whatever. Until now, like I said, I'm over 200. That's between concentrates and flour. So, that's why I said I have a bunch of strains I'll be able to give you. So when people come into the dispensary and they ask about a strain, I'm usually able to tell them what they want to know, or at least something's maybe I've had that strain's child or something like that, or a strain's parent or something like that. I should be able to relate it in some way. I don't know. I just like knowing about all the different strains. I like trying them all. I like to record the effects, what they look like, what the parents are, of course. Stuff like that. I think it helps. I think it's a lot to learn. I've never met anyone that keeps a strain journal as advanced, I guess, as mine, but I'm pretty proud of it. I got to be honest.
No, I think it's a very cool thing. Yeah, because I mean, even going back to what we were talking about before, when you first start smoking weed, it's I just want to get some, and that's the whole thing. You just want to get weed, so you're not gonna go up to a dealer and be like, "Yo, what kind do you got?" They're gonna be like, "It's weed, just take the weed," But now it's where we are with cannabis now. It's cool that you really you can just be aware of the things that you're. It's always good to know what you're putting in your body, right? So I think with weed, it's the same thing. It's good to know exactly what kind of weed you're putting in your body, so that way you're not surprised, and it's just an overall enjoyable experience.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to leave our listeners? Of course, if you want to add to the strain list, if there's also any other last thoughts or anything you want to plug.
Definitely want to plug The Botanist. The Botanist in Middletown, New York. It's a great place to shop. It's a really welcoming environment, and will definitely make you feel like you belong there, and will help you find the right medicine. Definitely, if you've got a medical marijuana card, stop in there. It is medical only in New York State still, but recreational hopefully is on the way. So definitely stop by. I'm there a lot of the time.
Cool. All right. Any other strains that you'd like to add to your list?
Let's do Forbidden Skittles, Mandarin Cookies. There's a lot of cookies. Honestly, you could probably make up say 2 random words and cookies, and it'll probably be a strain.
I know those are all the same family of strains too.
Not necessarily. For the most part, they are. But I've had something named after a cookie that doesn't come from Girl Scout cookies. It happens sometimes. It's just kind of that flavor profile that will give it a cookie's name or something like that. Some more strains. Let's see. Passion Orange Guava. God, there's just so many. I'm just having a hard time placing one.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, so that is true. Sometimes when you have such a large base of knowledge about a certain topic, then it's just where it's almost like having a large library. It's where do you go first? And then it's interesting to see which which ones your brain is associating first when you like call upon that information.
Right.
Are people channeled by categories? Sorry.
Yeah. Punch breath. Punch cookies. Banana punch. I guess that's the direction we're headed right now.
Yes.
Papaya punch. Honestly, anything with punch is usually really tasty. Yeah, definitely recommend anything crossed with purple punch.
Good to know.
XJ13.
Like the letter X, the letter J, 13.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
That one's pretty cool.
Why is it XJ13?
It's a cross of Jack Herrera and G13 Haze. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It reminds me of that show, I think it was called My Life as a Teenage Robot. The robot's name was XJ.
Yeah.
I always think about that when I think about that show.
I haven't thought about
Nostalgia.
that show.
Back in the past. Whoa.
Oh, man. That's another thing too is like it's always fun going back to and like rewatching like I guess like any cartoons but especially like going back and watching childhood cartoons when you're high because I feel like in a way you're going to like tap into like, your child brain in a certain way because I feel like there are certain things that like that's one of the things that I like about marijuana the most is like it does it makes me feel like a kid in certain ways where it's like when I was a kid I actually felt the way because I was a kid probably but now it's like as an adult it kind of like I don't know it like kind of bridges that gap between adult and child for me so
yeah it kind of forces you to just slow down and enjoy life just be in the moment just do whatever and like not worry about this or that or because you just become an adult and you just worry you just constantly worry why do we worry about so much and like you can't then your sleep is not as good and you're just like it's not there's just like adult things where you're just like this is terrible like why does my back hurt it's like why don't we just take on all this other stuff when we get older but it does it also does allow you, I guess, to when you like zone out, I guess, or also zone in on like you're like obsess over one particular thing. Like if you're watching a bunch of these videos, or if you're like all of a sudden staring at this painting, you're like all of a sudden like trying to do this puzzle, or you're like linking with I don't know, or maybe it's more that's been more tech based. People now just like zone out looking at a screen instead of like what they used to do when you would get high in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, that is cool that like, there are certain like workplaces where like they are like normalizing the idea of like like cannabis is a thing that you can like partake in because like it's just like they realize I guess that it's not like harmful to themselves, to the company, to productivity, but also like, it allows you to like think in a different way to expand your mind, especially like are there certain like creative areas that you feel like you are able to access in a different way when you are under the influence of marijuana?
Definitely. Sativas are definitely promote creativity. So I start my day with sativa. I really will not smoke indica like right after I wake up because then the rest of the day will be a slower shot, literally shot. But yeah, I mean, it definitely helps with the creativity. That's big. Like if you're playing games, it's big. Like I mean, Call of Duty, it kind of helps you focus. I do really good at Call of Duty when I'm high on a sativa. I like Legos. I love Legos. And I always smoke before I build them. It's a sativa. Helps me get it done really fast, which isn't always, the best thing because that's the whole fun of it. But I mean, it helps me kind of focus on what I'm doing, and if I want to do something, it's gonna be done. On a sativa. Yeah.
Do you feel like in terms of like building things with Legos, do you feel more satisfied while you're doing it though, or when it's completed and you have like a finished product?
I like seeing the stages. So like usually they come in parts, so like the different bags will tell you the different parts that you're on. So like after part 1 you'll see a certain amount of progress, and then after part 2 you'll see like, oh, it's almost done, I just have part 3 to put together, and then you combine them all at the end, and it's really satisfying. It's awesome.
We should have a sativa Lego party.
Oh my god.
Just get together and let's just make Legos. Let's just build
but you give indica to one person and you want people to build.
It's a surprise. Like nobody knows what they're getting. It's like you're picking, like a straw from someone's hands or whatever, like whoever gets the short straw.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny.
That's an interesting experiment.
That's so. Oh god, I gotta remember that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to strains.
Back to strains. Okay. Geez, I wasn't ready for that. It's it.
Wait, what is it?
It's called It's It.
It's it, Brendan.
That's what I smoked.
That's it.
That's what I smoked before I came here today.
Oh, very nice. What's like the makeup of that particular strain?
That's a hybrid. I have a hard time remembering the lineage, but it's gelato and something else. I can't remember what it is. And it's got a very in-your-face gelato flavor profile to it, which I'm a big fan of. Very dessert-like. It's really tasty. It's really nice. It's a well-balanced hybrid, so it kind of kept me right in the middle. You know, not too hype, not too slumped.
Right.
You know,
you're as Goldilocks would say, you're just right.
right. Wonka bar.
Ooh.
You guys have had that before?
Oh, we have. Yes, yes, we have.
Let's see. There's so many strains. Lilac Cookies. That's one of my favorites.
Ooh.
Chocolate covered oranges.
Lilac
chocolate covered strawberries is the strain, and then there's also chocolate oranges.
Okay.
So they're two different strains.
Okay.
Strawberry Diesel. Bruce Banner. Chem Dog. Classic.
Wait, why you say that's one? Why, is that like an older strain that's been around for a while, or it's just like a well-known one?
Chem Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chem Dog. It is a classic strain. It's been around for a long time, and it is really well known. Actually, something cool about Chem Dog, that strain, the person who originally bred that strain, he grows for a company in Massachusetts.
Oh.
And I've had a lot of his stuff, so it's really awesome.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he's really got like a legacy behind him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are they like? Do you know a bunch of growers, or would you call it like what's the name of someone who creates strains?
Like a weed farmer?
Yeah.
You'd definitely be a grower, but
Not a shower. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I just had to go
breeder.
for
You'd be
it.
A breeder. Okay.
That's funny though. Yeah, breeders. I don't really know any breeders. I mean, I know Chem Dog because he's, Chem Dog.
Yeah.
He created that strain.
Yeah.
But I don't really know anybody else. I'm familiar with some seed companies, but personally, I don't really know anybody.
Okay, cool.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
New York is still pretty new with cannabis, so there haven't been that many opportunities, really. But with whole flower being legal and recreational on the horizon, there's going to be a lot more companies coming out here. A lot more opportunities to kind of meet these people who are, creating these strains and growing these plants. So something to look forward to. Definitely.
Yeah, no, like this. I mean, this area, like especially like New York, it always felt like that was it felt like it just like naturally was a place that made sense for marijuana. One, just because like especially in the city, like you'd walk around, people were smoking marijuana all the time, so it was almost like it was in the culture before it was already in the culture, and then it's like we went. I think we were in the city on like the first 420, like after they had passed the legalization on it.
Oh yeah.
And like man, like what like a festival of joy and marijuana, man.
Very vibrant.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was. I mean, obviously people were. Yeah. People were in the mood to celebrate. It was definitely it's a thing worth celebrating as more things become more legal and things just become better in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Everybody loves cannabis, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of people with a bad perception of it, but I feel like most people, when they try it, love it.
Yeah, agreed.
And when my mom finally tries it, I think she's going to love it.
Yeah. You do meet people, you're like, I know you're not a marijuana person, but I know if you tried it, you would be a marijuana person, And I guess everyone gets there however they get there. Everyone has like their own journey towards finding marijuana for themselves. So,
yeah, definitely.
Just curious, do you want to know how many you have on your list so far? Or do you want to wait till you keep listening more?
You want to know?
Yeah, let me know.
2, 3, 4. I can't believe you don't number them as you go, Brendan. Every time. What is our PA gonna do? Unbelievable. I'll just keep insulting you until you say how many are on that list.
35.
Oh, that's a solid
more than
number.
I thought.
That's a good number, yeah.
Do you have more? I mean, we did you. You decide when the podcast ends.
You go for as long as you want to go, Alex.
Okay. I gotta think about it.
All right. While you're thinking, we will take this time to plug some stuff that Late Night Hump has going on. This Friday, the 12th of November at 9:30 at the Players Theater in New York City, we are doing our interdimensional improv show where we take a suggestion from you, the audience, and we make up a complete improvised show that has never happened before. We go through different times in reality and space and also time again. Mm-hmm. It's a great fun show, so come on out. You can get tickets on our website at latenighthump.com or them through the Players Theater. And yeah, you're just going to want to be there because it's a good time. And also, keep listening to all of our podcasts. You're listening to Sessions with Mary Jane right now, which means that you found it. You found the right place to be, guys. So keep on listening. And then also, we have a couple other podcasts. We have every day during the week, we have The Morning Shower, which is our take on the morning news. We also have Gemstones and Whiskey, which is the Outlander fan podcast hosted by Reena Ezra and Ashley Alexandra.
Yeah, if you want to get a load of that show, it's super fun.
It is. Guys, I don't even watch the damn show, but I listen to this podcast because it's very entertaining to listen to. Whether you know what happens, yeah. We got Young Black Suburban, we got Gannon the Cannabis, Young Blonde Suburban. So, guys, we also have a ton of videos coming out all the time. We have so many things for you to entertain yourself with. So just find yourself to Late Night Hump and get on the hump. And now back to Alex with the strains.
All right. Rosetta Stone.
Ooh, okay.
The One.
The One?
The One.
Okay.
Ginger Ale. Black Raspberry. How could I forget? NF1. AC/DC. Gelato. I didn't say that.
He kind of does.
I kind of, yeah. Because you're any other one that you mentioned as family members, I count those too because it's you naming them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Watermelon gelato. GMO Skittles. Black Rosé. Black Dahlia. Blue Dream.
This
Who
is
am
very
I?
common.
Who am I? Now I'm listing that first.
Yeah, Blue Dream is definitely would you say that's a classic strain as well?
That's a classic. Everybody knows about Blue Dream.
Yeah.
And for good reason. It's an awesome strain. Mm-hmm. Really good strain.
Yes. That was the first time, I ever, heard the idea of a strain, actually, was Blue Dream. Because I was in a car with some friends smoking. And one of them had mentioned that it was Blue Dream, and that was actually the moment when I realized what Purple Haze meant, because I was like, oh, Purple Haze, I get it now. So yeah, that makes Jimi Hendrix just make a lot more sense. It's he's already great to begin with, and then you realize this music is partially brought to you by marijuana.
Right. Ghost Train Haze.
I feel like I could just listen to you listing strains.
Yeah.
It's driving on my way to work and just be self-motivation tapes where they're just and you are this, and you're gonna be and then you're
that's amazing.
Purple Haze.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm that's the centering.
It's I'm not high.
I listen to it while you're trying to go to bed or resting, and you're yes. It's counting sheep,
Pineapple Express. Purple Panty Dropper.
There you go.
Blood Orange Amethyst. Some of the names are really crazy. Rainbow Chip. Rainbow Road. Cookies and Cream. Thin Mints. I could keep going. Are you sure?
No, just listen. We had someone literally that they the person who has the record. I think it's 92 right now.
Yeah.
Is
Are you trying to beat that?
Yeah, because this person they literally did the entire podcast. Usually they go about an hour and change or hour and a half depending on the episode, but. They went for the entire episode not naming a single bodybuilder was their challenge, and then all of a sudden at the end they were like, okay, here we go. And then they proceed to list 92 in a row. So, Alex, you go.
I feel like you can beat that.
We need it. You go as long as you want to go. We want you to flex on here and show people why they got to pay attention to your knowledge right now.
92 bodybuilders.
Yes, right. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah.
Because like this guy's like
All
a
the
lifter.
topics.
Yeah,
He's a weightlifter.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Shout out, it's Jamie Lewis, who's on the podcast Plague of Strength, and he like will post like I think on a daily basis he posts like a bodybuilder and like a fact about them or like just information about them and kind of like highlights the history of that. So he definitely came very equipped to. I don't know if he had a journal of bodybuilders like your journal of strains, but mentally he had a journal of bodybuilders.
I'm sure they wrote it down somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, keep going.
Blueberry Haze, Granny Smith, Blueberry Cookies, Queen Kong, The Juice, Blackjack. There's a lot of them that begin with black, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that had a really funny name, Bootylicious.
Mm.
That one had all black flour. It was actually really pretty.
Ooh.
It was really nice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Wedding Cake, Wedding Crasher, White Wedding, Red Wedding, Vanilla Cake. Am I going too fast?
No, I got you. Good.
Larry Cake.
Of course that.
Like we've heard some funny names, but that one just got me for some reason. It's like
Larry.
Yeah.
For it to be the last one listed.
Larry OG. I thought I had another one with Larry in it. I guess not.
Yeah. What's like the strains that have OG in that? Is that like is it again just kind of like a family or like classification
I
of
get
them?
this question a lot.
Yeah.
Not always. Sometimes it's the first strain of that type.
Yes.
But a lot of the times, if you hear something like OG, OG Kush, that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
So that would be the lineage, but not everything named OG comes from it. A lot of OGs are like phenotypes of that original OG Kush, like Tahoe OG. That could be another strain. Mm-hmm. San Fernando Valley OG, like those are just different phenotypes of OG Kush, and they smell and taste and like have completely different effects than each other.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Phenotypes are another thing. Like you can have, like I listed all these strains. Sometimes you see a number after a strain. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Super Skunk number 1.
Right.
You could also have like number 24, for example, and they have completely different flavor profiles, which give you different effects as well. So. Mm. You guys asked about the whole strain thing before. It's tough. Like, it depends what phenotype they're using. Like, mm-hmm. I'm familiar with the phenotypes I've had, mm-hmm. but, a different number, even if it's just one number difference, like, it might be completely different. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's the thing with strains. If you're going to try one in one market and try one in another market, it's not necessarily going to be exactly the same.
Okay.
So, I guess that branches from what you said on OG, or maybe I just went on a little tangent.
You know what? Either way, I didn't know that before, and now I know it now. So I think just like in general, whenever I hear a strain that has a part of its name in common with another one, I kind of like always assume like they must have something in common if they, whether it's like the color or just like the cookies thing of it. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of the times they do have some in common, but not always.
How many?
All right, let's see. We got.
I'm beating 92.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so keep listening.
I just had one. Orange Mojito.
Ooh.
Orangeade. I don't know if I said Sour Kush.
I think you did. Let me see. The fact check. Yep, you did say Sour Kush. Yes.
Okay, Amnesia Haze. Afghani, that's a landrace, which are really cool as well. Landraces are like the OG strains that grew here before anybody planted them.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What's that one called? That was
Afghani. Usually, if you hear a strain named after a place, like Hawaiian or Afghani, it's from that place and it grew there natively. Did I say Pineapple Express?
You did.
Yeah.
Yes,
I did. Okay, Purple Pineapple Express. Huckleberry Hound, Gosh, there's so many.
Yeah. Is there like a kind of like database or like record keeping of like when these strains like first came to be, or is it not really?
Probably not. Sometimes you can see like who originally bred them, but I have like never seen like the year that they were originally bred.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is just like the first recorded time they were bred.
Yeah.
And then like whoever gave them a name first. But like I said, there's different phenotypes and people can go wild with the names.
Yeah.
So it's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Critical Plus. That's another strain. Mango Kush. So Mango. That's one word. Mango's my favorite fruit. It also pairs well with cannabis, so I want to plug mangoes. They have the terpene myrcene, which I mentioned earlier, and if you wait about 40 minutes after you eat some mango to smoke, it really enhances the effect.
Whoa!
Good to know.
You probably
just got
heard that
mango.
on the internet, but it's true. There's like actually science behind it.
Like it has to be like a mango-based strain, or like if you smoke any kind of marijuana.
Any kind of cannabis, every strain of cannabis has the terpene myrcene in it.
Wow.
And that's what mangoes have in them as well. So they kind of expand your receptors, allow you to receive more THC, and it usually gives you a longer lasting high as well.
Wow.
So a stronger and a longer high is what you can say about it.
That's
Awesome.
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And mango is my favorite fruit, like I said.
Yeah.
So let's plug mangoes.
Yeah, mangoes. Thank you for being around. Yeah, that's like nice because then that kind of gets
There's
into
a lot of fruit strains.
Yeah.
That I think I like gravitate more towards them.
Yeah.
I love fruits. Almost, I don't think there's a fruit that I don't like. So I definitely gravitate towards them. Papaya is a strain. Alaskan Thunderfuck. And then there's another one, Madanuska Thunderfuck. It might be Manituska. I honestly don't remember which one, but it's one of those two.
Okay.
And they're both from Alaska. What are we at?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Are you thinking more? Or do you have more already in the
getting
canon?
stuck, but I can definitely, if I have to, I'll think of them.
You could go alphabetical. You could go... I guess you went by category. Like fruit was one category. You went by an OG category. What other categories are... I guess you did, like, hybrids, sativas, indicas. I'm trying to think how else to break down this list. There's so many. I wonder how many... I guess you can't actually come up with a total solid number of how many strains are in existence right now, because there's still things that are being right. Like
we are at 86 right now.
Whoa!
Oh, I could do another 7.
Yeah, so.
Whoa!
Sour apples.
This is exciting.
Wow.
We're making history tonight.
White runts. Cinderella 99.
Ooh.
How about just runts? That's easy.
Mm-hmm.
The white. Blue rhino. We gotta be close.
89, 90, 91, 92. We're at 92 right now. Wow. You said
You should get 2 or 3.
Right, because you want to protect your lead,
yeah,
you know?
but also just to
Definitely.
make sure, because I don't remember if he had 91 or 92 or 93.
I'm gonna go to 100, so that's okay.
Wow!
Oh, yeah, cool.
Oh my God.
Red dragon.
Who's gonna beat this next? This
Nobody.
is gonna be hard.
We could do blackberry kush.
He's just like listing these like it's no problem.
Okay, there's a strain. It's called Sangiovese. I could spell it for you if you want.
You good?
I pronounced it wrong, but I said it wrong, and someone corrected me. And I'll never say it wrong again. So it's Sangiovese. I believe that's close. So if you really want to know about it, just Google that and you'll find it. There's got to be more.
Yeah, we're 95 right now. So.
95.
So you have officially broken the record. Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
But we are here for style
Very
points.
impressive.
So go for the 100, Alex.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's like you. Like, there was this. You know, when you like watch a runner and they're doing a marathon and they're going the whole time and they're running and then they get to the end of it and then they just like sprint. You like went into like a full sprint. Once you realize how close you were, you're like, oh, all right, cool, here we go. And you just like unload like you tapped like to a new part of your brain and then just unloaded them.
Are there strains that are like not because there are ones that are after sweets, but ones that's like like hot dog or like.
I don't think they would sell that well, but I
probably.
Can I get an eighth of hot dog?
Motor breath, meat breath. That's a strain,
Oh,
and I don't know why anybody would ever pick that, but.
Is it? Yeah, you tried it. Have you tried it?
My brother's tried it, but no, I've never.
And
had it.
he. I mean, I'm assuming it doesn't taste like meat breath, whatever that is.
No.
But why do they call it that?
It's probably sometimes strains are named after people, and it could be like a parent, like one of the parents is named like meat something. Or, I don't know. It could be named after a food. Like there are savory strains that kind of do have like a savory scent to them.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's strains out there named after meat besides that one.
Yeah.
Stuff that I don't think weed would be super appetizing if it smelled like, but
Yeah.
Sure.
Cause again, like, you're associating, like even without thinking about it, like you would see a name of a thing and your brain is already like thinking like the Fruity Pebbles thing. You're thinking about that thing going into the experience of smoking whatever it is.
Right.
Sorry, was there another one you said after meat breath?
We got motor breath and then meat breath.
Okay, there were just
Horchata.
two.
Horchata.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, we're at 98.
Wow. Okay. Now I really got to think.
All right.
I'm getting stuck.
Oh.
But we're definitely getting to 100. Definitely.
We believe in you, Alex. People listening at home believe in you, Alex. They know. This is an incredible feat of bravery, knowledge, wisdom. Like,
yeah, we've learned so much.
Yeah.
In this podcast, so much has been accomplished.
Yes, and on top of all that, you just did an Olympic feat of just naming what will be 100.
Your expertise and insight for the listeners.
Yeah,
a great treat.
Yes.
Okay, prayer pupil.
Pupil
Magoo. Blue Magoo. So that's 101, right?
Wait, so it was prayer pupil, and what was after that?
Pupil Magoo.
Pupil Magoo, okay.
And then Blue Magoo. And all of those have something to do with each other.
Weed Dalmatians.
We can leave it there.
Well, you know what? You got 101, and you took us to class with a 101 class.
That was gonna be so
I know.
101 in history of 101 or 101 weed strains.
Professor Alex with Weed 101.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a great time.
Any last final words before that you want to leave the people listening at home or wherever they are with?
Well, honestly, just enjoy any weed that you can, any and all weed, and don't be afraid to show your love for it. Let everybody know that you love to smoke weed. Let them know how happy it makes you. Let them know how good it makes you feel. Anything to get that stigma to go in the opposite direction. Am I right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Peace out.